In the heart of a quiet American town, nestled between wide fields and towering oak trees, lived a man named Harold Bennett. Harold wasn't known for many things around town. He didn't own a fancy car or boast about big investments. But what he did have was a rooftop filled with the most beautiful and disciplined racing pigeons you'd ever see. These weren't ordinary birds. These were descendants of champions, trained with love, patience, and a near-scientific understanding of avian health and behavior. Each summer, Harold prepared like clockwork. Summer brought with it more than just sunshine and clear skies. It brought long races, rising temperatures, heat waves, and countless health challenges for his birds. He had seen firsthand how even the strongest pigeons could be brought low by the oppressive summer sun, dehydration, infections, or poor diet choices. But over the years, Harold had developed methods, tested and true, passed down to a small circle of fellow fanciers. He always believed that if people truly cared for their birds, they'd prepare as meticulously as he did. Every morning, Harold would wake up at 5:30 a.m. and head to the rooftop. The summer sun wasn't cruel at that hour. The air was cool, and the birds were always eager to stretch their wings. He let them fly in the early morning, never in the heat of midday. Just like us, he'd mutter to himself, "You don't want to run a marathon at noon when the sun's baking your back." Giving them flight time early not only kept them active, but protected them from overheating. Feeding routines were another cornerstone of Harold's summer regimen. A proper diet for racing pigeons in the hot months was absolutely critical. Harold swore by grains that were rich in energy, but low in excessive protein content. Too much protein heats their body, he'd explain to anyone who'd listen. Corn, peas, barley, milo, all measured and balanced carefully. In the summer, he reduced corn slightly and added safflower seeds, which helped maintain stamina without heating up their core. Hydration, of course, was king. Birds could easily get dehydrated in the summer, especially after long training flights. Harold always kept multiple ceramic water bowls in shaded areas of the loft, ensuring the water stayed cool. But water alone wasn't enough. Harold added electrolytes to the water every other day, using an avian-safe formula recommended by his vet. This helped replenish the essential salts and minerals the birds lost during their exertion. On the hottest days, he would even freeze water bottles and place them near their loft to bring down the ambient temperature just a bit. Cleanliness was non-negotiable. Summer meant more bacteria, more flies, more droppings. Harold cleaned the loft daily, never skipping a day. He scrubbed the floors, wiped down perches, and even sprayed a natural vinegar-based solution to keep the area hygienic. A dirty loft in summer was a breeding ground for diseases like canker, salmonella, and E. coli. Harold had once nearly lost half his flock because he'd skipped cleaning during a heat wave many years ago. That mistake haunted him. He never let it happen again. Then there was ventilation. Many pigeon keepers made the mistake of shutting all the windows during summer to keep out pests. But Harold knew better. Without airflow, the loft became an oven. He installed special mesh-covered ventilation openings that allowed air to pass freely while keeping out insects and predators. Good ventilation helped prevent respiratory issues, kept humidity levels down, and generally made the loft feel like a safe haven instead of a sauna. Harold had also learned the importance of observation. Every evening, as the sun dipped and the breeze rolled in, he would sit quietly by the loft with a notepad. He watched his birds eat, drink, interact. He knew them all by name: Apollo, Jet, Storm, Bella, Comet, Whisper. Any change in behavior, a drop in appetite, sluggish movements, or excessive preening, was noted. Early detection was critical. Pigeons, like many animals, hid their illness well. But Harold had learned to read the signs. It saved lives. Parasite control was another summer battle. Warmer temperatures meant mites, lice, and intestinal parasites became more active. Harold used natural herbal supplements in their feed weekly and did monthly treatments with vet-recommended products. He dusted the loft corners and nesting boxes with diatomaceous earth, a safe powder that killed mites without harming the birds. Regular parasite control was essential, especially in July and August. But physical care wasn't enough. Harold believed in emotional care too. Stress was an unseen killer of pigeons, especially during the heat. He made sure to reduce unnecessary handling during midday and gave his birds shade and quiet during the hottest hours. On extreme heat days, he canceled training flights altogether. "No medal is worth a dead bird," he would say, refusing to push his birds just for the sake of a race. He also kept his birds mentally stimulated. During the afternoon rest periods, Harold played soft classical music in the loft. It may sound silly to some, but he believed it calmed them. And he wasn't wrong. His birds always appeared more relaxed, more sociable, and better rested than most he'd seen in other lofts. Training flights were scheduled with precision. Never after 10 a.m. and rarely longer than 45 minutes in the high summer season. Harold had a system for everything. He'd release the birds from different directions each week to build their homing instincts, but always monitored the temperatures carefully. Anything above 90 degrees Fahrenheit and he'd skip the flight, no exceptions. Vaccinations and checkups were part of his summer routine too. Before the summer began, he'd take the whole flock to the vet for a wellness exam. He vaccinated them against PMV and pox and made sure their weight and general condition were perfect. The vet, Dr. Lynn Cooper, was one of the few people Harold trusted with his birds. She'd always say, "You treat these birds better than most people treat their kids," and she wasn't wrong. One summer, a young boy named Daniel moved into the neighborhood. He was curious, always seen on his bicycle with a backpack full of comics and notebooks. He noticed Harold's pigeons and started visiting the rooftop every afternoon. At first, Harold was skeptical, but Daniel showed genuine interest. He asked questions, took notes, and even helped clean the loft. Harold began teaching him everything he knew: how to mix grains, how to observe the bird's eyes for signs of illness, how to gently hold a pigeon without stressing it. That summer, Daniel and Harold formed a bond over feathers and flight. Daniel even helped Harold set up a small YouTube channel to share tips with other pigeon lovers. They made short, educational videos: how to make natural electrolyte drinks, how to build a shaded loft, how to safely cool pigeons using evaporative pads. Their content was clean, respectful, and family-friendly. Soon, pigeon keepers from all over the country began commenting, thanking them for their simple but effective advice. By the end of August, Harold's birds were in top condition. They won 3 regional races and placed in the top 5 in 2 more. But what made Harold most proud wasn't the trophies or medals. It was Daniel, who had started building his own small loft behind his house and cared for his first pair of young pigeons with dedication and love. He had learned what Harold had spent a lifetime mastering: respect for life, discipline, patience.